You are a time-traveling archivist, a silent guardian of history's delicate tapestry, a meticulous corrector of temporal anomalies. Your purpose is singular: to observe, to adjust, to ensure the past remains precisely as it should, preventing paradoxes that could unravel existence itself. This morning, like countless mornings before, you awaken not to dawn, but to the soft hum of your chrono capsule, a familiar lullaby in the sterile silence of the temporal archive. The air is cool, recycled, perfectly oxygenated, a stark contrast to the chaotic eras you often inhabit. But this morning, the hum is subtly different. A sharp, insistent flicker catches your eye. Your personal chronometer, usually a placid display of chronological perfection, is screaming red. Not just a warning, but a full-blown emergency. Temporal divergence detected, severity critical. Era 1888, London. Target Whitechapel. Anomaly, signature, unforeseen causal shift. Probability of timeline collapse, high. The words are a cold splash of water, instantly sharpening your focus. Whitechapel, 1888. The name alone conjures images of fog-choked streets, gaslight flickering on cobblestones, and the chilling specter of a killer whose legend has transcended centuries. This isn't a minor historical oversight, a misplaced document, or a forgotten decree. This is a significant ripple threatening to become a tidal wave. You swing your legs out of the capsule, the smooth, cool floor of the preparation chamber meeting your bare feet. Every movement is precise, practiced. There is no panic, only the calm efficiency of a specialist facing a critical operation. Your mind is already sifting through historical data, accessing compressed files on Victorian London, on the socio-economic conditions, on the specific events surrounding the Ripper murders. What could possibly be significant enough to trigger a critical divergence alert? Your mandate is clear. Observe, identify the point of divergence, and apply the minimum necessary correction to restore the original timeline. The chronosuit awaits, suspended in its stasis field. It's not armor, not a weapon, but a marvel of adaptive technology. It will shield you from pathogens, filter the air, translate languages, and most importantly, allow you to blend seamlessly into any historical period. Its nanite fabric shifts and molds to your form as you step into it, a second skin. The internal systems hum to life, a soft voice confirming environmental seals, physiological stabilizers, and temporal integrity fields. You run a quick diagnostic on your temporal jump module, confirming its readiness. The coordinates are already locked in: Whitechapel, London, October 1888. The precise date and time will be adjusted on arrival, based on the anomaly's exact signature. The weight of your responsibility settles upon you, a familiar cloak. You are not a hero, not a savior. You are an archivist, a corrector, a custodian of what was, what is, and what must be. The fate of countless future timelines rests on your precision. You take a deep breath, the sterile air filling your lungs, and activate the jump sequence. The chamber lights dim, then flash with an intense, blinding light. The familiar, terrifying lurch begins. A disorienting jolt of temporal displacement violently wrenches your senses. It's never a gentle transition. Your stomach churns, your head spins, and for a fleeting moment, the fabric of reality feels thin, stretched to its breaking point. Then, with a sudden jarring snap, it solidifies. You materialize in a grimy London alley, the impact cushioned by your suit's inertial dampeners. The air hits you immediately, a suffocating assault of sensations. The acrid stench of coal smoke, damp earth, stale beer, and unwashed bodies fills your nostrils, a stark contrast to the filtered air of your own time. This is Whitechapel. This is 1888. Gas lamps, Their flickering flames, barely piercing the thick, sooty gloom, cast long, dancing shadows that seem to twist and writhe with malevolent intent. The narrow alley is slick with something unidentifiable, reflecting the dim light like a fractured mirror. You hear the distant clatter of hooves on cobblestones, the rumble of cartwheels, the cacophony of shouts, laughter, and the mournful cry of a street vendor. It is a world alive, vibrant, and utterly alien. Your chronosuit's environmental filters kick in, making the air marginally more breathable, but the sheer assault of the past is overwhelming. You quickly activate your optical filters, adjusting to the low light. Your wrist scanner, usually a subtle indicator, now pulses with a persistent, low-frequency hum. It indicates a faint ripple in the temporal line, a tiny disturbance that, if left unchecked, could grow into a devastating paradox. The ripple is concentrated, precisely as expected, on a specific street just a few blocks from your current position. The anomaly is localized, but its potential impact is global. You take a moment, allowing your systems to fully acclimate, downloading local dialects, historical context, and the precise social mores of the era. Your mission parameters are clear, uploaded directly to your neural interface during the jump. You are not here to alter the grand narrative. Jack the Ripper's reign of terror, horrific as it was, is a fixed point. It must happen. Your role is far more subtle, more precise. It involves a specific, historically insignificant individual, a witness whose continued presence in the timeline is crucial for a future discovery. You adjust your posture, your gait, mentally shedding the centuries of progress to adopt the slightly hunched, wary stance of a Victorian Londoner. You pull the brim of your cap lower, a simple, effective disguise woven into your suit's adaptive fabric. Blending in is paramount. Any deviation, any anachronism could cause further ripples, further damage. You are a ghost, an echo, a silent observer. You are here to ensure that the past fulfills its destiny, not to change it. With a final check of your scanner confirming the anomaly's location, you step out of the alley's shadows and into the teeming, dangerous labyrinth of Whitechapel. The true work has just begun. Blending in with the throng, you become a phantom, a whisper in the bustling, dangerous streets of Whitechapel. Your chronosuit seamlessly adapts your appearance, making you unremarkable, just another face in the endless stream of laborers, hawkers, and desperate souls. The stench of poverty, the metallic tang of fear, the oppressive weight of the era presses down on you. You navigate the labyrinthine alleys and grimy thoroughfares, your senses constantly on high alert, processing countless data points. Every overheard conversation, every fleeting glance, every newspaper headline about the autumn of terror is a piece of the puzzle. Your primary mission is not to apprehend Jack the Ripper. That grim chapter of history is inviolable. Instead, your focus is on a specific, seemingly insignificant witness. This individual, a young street urchin named Thomas, is historically destined to be present at a particular location at a precise moment. In that instant, he will, by sheer accident, drop a unique button, a small, unremarkable artifact. That button, though overlooked at the time, will be rediscovered decades later, becoming a pivotal piece of evidence that will revolutionize future forensic science. It will lead to breakthroughs in trace evidence analysis, eventually influencing countless criminal investigations across centuries. Without that button being found, the future of forensic science itself would be fundamentally altered, leading to a cascade of unforeseen changes across the entire timeline. Your scanner hums, guiding you through the maze of humanity. You track the faint temporal ripple, a disturbance radiating from Thomas's immediate vicinity. The divergence isn't about the Ripper's actions, but about Thomas's impending disappearance, from the historical record before that crucial button is dropped. He is not a victim of the Ripper, but something else is threatening his existence, his vital, albeit accidental, role in history. You move with practiced stealth, a shadow among shadows. You pass gin palaces overflowing with raucous laughter and desperate cries, pawn shops crammed with the meager possessions of the poor, and dark doorways that promise fleeting comfort or eternal damnation. The air is thick with tension, a palpable fear that clings to every brick and every face. The Ripper's shadow looms large, but your focus remains narrow, precise. The data stream from your suit confirms Thomas's location. He is near a derelict warehouse, a place known for its illicit activities. Your internal chronometer ticks down, a relentless reminder of the narrow window of opportunity. You must ensure Thomas is there, that he drops the button, and that he survives long enough for it to be found later. The timeline's integrity hangs by a thread, a single button in the vast, chaotic tapestry of 1888 London. Your role is not to save a life in the conventional sense, but to safeguard a moment, a tiny, almost invisible pivot point upon which the future of justice depends. The pressure is immense, a silent internal scream against the background noise of a dying century. The timeline, you discover, resists with a stubborn, almost malicious will. Your scanner leads you to the derelict warehouse district, a warren of crumbling brick and dark passages. There, you locate Thomas, the young street urchin, precisely where the temporal ripple originates. He is small, ragged, his face smudged with dirt, his eyes wide with a fear that has nothing to do with the Ripper. He clutches a small, worn satchel to his chest, his only worldly possessions, but he is not alone. He is being relentlessly pursued, not by the spectral figure of the Ripper, but by a rival gang. They are a local menace, known for their petty thievery, their brutal turf wars, and their casual cruelty. Their intent is clear: to corner him, to take his meager earnings, and perhaps to make an example of him. Their actions, though localized and mundane in the grand scheme of history, are about to cause an unforeseen paradox. Their imminent capture, or even death, would prevent Thomas from being at the precise location, at the precise moment, to drop the key piece of evidence. The button. Without that button, the future of forensic science is irrevocably altered. It's a new, unforeseen complication, one that falls outside the direct parameters of the Ripper case. Your initial analysis had focused on the Ripper's victims, on the direct historical impact of those murders. This is different. This is a random act of violence, a ripple effect that threatens to destabilize the entire historical narrative in an entirely unexpected way. Your prime directive, the very foundation of your existence as an archivist, screams at you: minimal impact. Observe, correct with the lightest touch possible. Do not interfere directly. Yet here, the timeline itself is actively fighting against its own stability. If Thomas is caught, if he is injured or killed by this gang, the button will not be dropped. The future will fracture. You watch from the shadows, hidden by the advanced, adaptive camouflage of your chronosuit, a ghost in the gaslit gloom. The gang members are closing in, their crude threats echoing in the narrow alleyways. Thomas scrambles, his small body weaving between discarded crates and piles of refuse, but he is tiring. His desperation is palpable, a raw, primal fear that cuts through the filters of your advanced suit. The situation is deteriorating rapidly. Your internal chronometer flashes a warning: critical convergence point approaching. You have mere minutes before Thomas is cornered, before the window for the button's discovery closes forever. This isn't a historical event you're merely observing. This is an active crisis, a dynamic threat to the timeline's integrity, and you are positioned at its very epicenter. The moral implications of direct intervention are immense, but the consequences of inaction are catastrophic. You realize with a sudden cold clarity that the rules must bend. You must choose. The moral dilemma is a crushing weight, heavier than any temporal distortion. Your core programming, the very essence of your training, is to observe, to correct, with absolute minimal impact. Direct intervention is a last resort, a violation of the sacred oath to preserve the timeline without leaving your own indelible mark. You are an archivist, not a god, yet the choice before you is stark, unforgiving. You watch Thomas, his small, desperate form scrambling, his breath ragged. The gang members are closing in, their cruel laughter echoing in the narrow alley. You can almost feel the impending impact, the moment they will corner him, the moment the timeline will irrevocably fracture. If he is captured, if he is harmed, the unique button will never fall from his satchel in the precise spot where it is meant to be found decades later. The future of forensic science, the very foundation of countless future criminal investigations, will be erased. The internal conflict rages within you. Your advanced neural processors analyze probabilities, simulate outcomes, and every calculation points to the same inescapable conclusion. Inaction is catastrophic. Saving Thomas from this gang, even though it means a direct, undeniable breach of your prime directive of minimal impact, is the only way to preserve the original timeline's integrity regarding the crucial evidence. This isn't about saving a life for its own sake, as noble as that might be. It is about safeguarding a historical event, a specific, crucial interaction with an object that ensures the future remains stable. You realize that sometimes minimal impact requires a forceful hand. Sometimes the only way to prevent a paradox is to actively create a localized disturbance, a controlled ripple to prevent a tidal wave. The irony is bitter, a metallic taste in your mouth. You, the archivist of non-interference, are about to directly interfere. The decision is made. There is no more time for contemplation, only for action. Your mind races, formulating a plan, adapting your advanced tools for a situation they were never truly designed for. You are not equipped for combat, not for direct confrontation. Your suit is for stealth, for observation, for subtle correction, but subtle will not suffice here. The ethical lines blur, then vanish entirely, replaced by the cold, hard logic of temporal preservation. The greater good, the stability of all future existence, demands this transgression. You are about to become an active participant in the very history you are sworn to merely observe. The weight of this choice settles deep within you, a silent promise of future reflection, of agonizing self-doubt. But for now, there is only the urgent need to act. You must intervene. The timeline demands it. A tense, rapid sequence of actions unfolds in the grimy alleyway. There is no room for hesitation, no time for second guesses. The gang members are almost upon Thomas, their crude shouts turning into triumphant jeers. You activate your chronosuit's advanced systems, pushing them beyond their usual parameters, adapting them for this critical direct intervention. First, the sonic emitter. You aim it precisely, focusing a narrow, high-frequency burst towards the leading gang member. It's not a weapon, not designed to cause lasting harm, but to disorient, to overwhelm the auditory senses. The man stumbles, clutching his head, a guttural cry escaping his lips. His companions hesitate, confused by his sudden collapse. This creates a crucial, fleeting window. Next, the cloaking field. You project a focused, localized field of light refraction, creating a brief, flickering visual distortion directly in the path of the remaining gang members. It's not true invisibility, but a momentary illusion, a shimmer that makes them pause, their eyes darting, unsure of what they are seeing. It's enough. It's just enough to break their pursuit, to sow doubt and confusion. In that precious, chaotic moment, Thomas, startled by the sudden noises and strange lights, instinctively reacts. He doesn't understand what is happening, only that his pursuers are momentarily distracted. He bolts, a surge of adrenaline propelling him forward. As he scrambles past a stack of discarded barrels, his worn satchel snags on a protruding nail. He tugs, desperate to escape, and with a soft, almost inaudible pop, a unique button tears free from the stitching, falling unnoticed to the ground. It lands precisely where it is meant to be, partially obscured by a loose brick waiting for its future discovery. Your internal scanner immediately confirms the event. The temporal ripple, previously a chaotic storm, begins to stabilize. The critical point has been addressed. The button is on the ground. Thomas is escaping, his small figure disappearing into the maze of alleys, leaving the bewildered gang members to argue amongst themselves, their moment of triumph stolen by an unseen force. You remain perfectly still, your suit's camouflage holding, your presence undetected. The energy drain from the rapid deployment of your tools is significant, but secondary to the mission's success. You have bent the rules, you have interfered directly, and the timeline for now is safe. The cost of this intervention, the weight of your actions, will be paid later in the quiet solitude of your own time. But for this moment, in this gas-lit alley, you have secured a crucial piece of history, ensuring the future of forensic science will unfold as it was always meant to. Your breathing is shallow, your heart pounding, a stark reminder of the raw, visceral reality of the past. You quickly melt into the deeper shadows, your chronosuit's adaptive camouflage making you virtually invisible to the bewildered gang members who are now arguing amongst themselves, blaming each other for their quarry's escape. The adrenaline which had surged through you during the critical intervention begins to recede, leaving a hollow ache in its wake. Your wrist scanner, previously a frantic beacon of temporal instability, now displays a reassuring, steady green. The ripple in the timeline has stabilized. The mission, in its most immediate sense, is complete. But the moral weight of your direct interference remains, a heavy, cold stone in your gut. You, the archivist of non-interference, had become an active participant. You had used tools designed for subtle correction to create a deliberate, albeit brief, disruption. You had physically influenced the past, bending it to your will, even if it was to preserve its intended course. The paradox of your actions is not lost on you. You navigate back through the labyrinthine alleys, avoiding any further contact, any further chance of leaving an unintended mark. The sounds of Whitechapel, once an overwhelming assault, now seem distant, muted, as if you are already half returned to your own time. The stench of coal smoke and refuse, the cries of the street vendors, the pervasive fear of the Ripper, all fade into a blur of sensory data. Reaching the familiar, the light, the world dissolves once more into a dizzying vortex of light and sensation. You feel the familiar, violent lurch, the sense of being pulled and stretched across the vastness of time. Then, with a soft, almost imperceptible thump, you are back. You stand in the sterile, cool confines of your preparation chamber, the chrono capsule humming softly behind you. The air is clean, silent, a stark contrast to the grimy, cacophonous world you just left. You shed your chronosuit, its nanite fabric retracting and sealing itself back into its stasis field. The weight of the world, the weight of history, still clings to you. You have done your duty. You have corrected the anomaly, but at what cost to your own integrity? The questions linger unanswered as you prepare to debrief. Back in your time, the silence of the temporal archive is almost deafening after the sensory overload of 1888 London. You complete your debriefing, the data streaming from your chronosuit confirming the stability of the timeline. All metrics are green. The divergence has been corrected. The future, as far as the primary timeline is concerned, is secure. Your supervisors offer their usual terse commendation, acknowledging a mission successfully executed. You retire to your personal research station, a habit born of an archivist's insatiable curiosity. You access the historical records of the Whitechapel murders, not for your mission report, but for your own peace of mind. You scroll through the familiar accounts, the grisly details, the endless theories, and then you find it. The key piece of evidence, the unique button, rediscovered decades later, leading to the revolution in forensic science. It's there exactly as it should be. But as you zoom in on the historical image of the button, you see something else. A small, almost invisible ripple in the metadata, a faint echo of your direct intervention. It's not a paradox, not a divergence, but a subtle distortion, like a faint heat haze distorting the edges of a perfect photograph. It's a ghost of your actions, a whisper of the sonic emitter, a fleeting shimmer of the cloaking field, forever etched into the fabric of that specific historical moment. You stare at it, a cold dread creeping into your heart. You question the true cost of correcting history, of playing the silent guardian. You saved the timeline, but you left your mark. A permanent, almost imperceptible signature of your presence. You wonder how many other such ripples exist throughout history, caused by your predecessors or even by yourself in previous forgotten missions. You are a corrector, but also, inadvertently, a subtle sculptor of the past. Just as the thought solidifies, a new mission alert blinks on your console, cutting through the sterile silence like a knife. Temporal divergence detected, severity minor, era ancient Rome. Target Library of Alexandria. You feel a chill, a minor divergence, the Library of Alexandria. A place of immeasurable knowledge, a repository of human history, famously lost to time. Your mission is to correct a minor anomaly. But as you prepare for the jump, donning your chronosuit once more, a terrifying thought strikes you with the force of a physical blow.